Hi, and welcome to episode 113 of the Heartland Knits podcast. My name is Vicki, but you can find me as Heartland Knits on Ravelry and Instagram. And today is Sunday, July 19th, 2015. Yes, I am wearing a hat. I wore this to church this morning and then I quick ran home and I'm going to go off and go to an art fair. So I thought, I'm just going to leave it on. This is going to be a really quick little show. Not because I want to get off on my way, but just because I don't have all that much to show you. Because I only knit on one thing this week, and this is what's on my needles. It's what's been on my needles for a while now, but I have made a lot of progress, and this is my green handspun shawl. This is the yarn that I've been trying to knit up since last spring sometime. This is like the fourth different pattern that I've used, and I love this one so much. This is the Alberta shawl by Annalise Mygart, and it is knitting up. It's a really fun pattern to knit. It's all charted. And I love how the different stitch patterns in the design kind of accentuate the stripiness in the handspun. I love that. It's all over lace, which is what I wanted. It's got this kind of leaf detail at the top. And then it goes into kind of an old shale variation. And then the bottom is this sort of, they're kind of leaf too, but it goes down in that pattern. Actually, I am at the point where I am past kind of all the charts and going on and just continuing this stitch pattern down till I run out of yarn, because I still have this much yarn left. It's like the loaves and fishes yarn. The more I knit, the more it's there. I am bound and determined to use up all this yarn. So I don't know. There are two sizes in this pattern, and I did do the smaller size because according to what the yardage that I have for this yarn, this would have been the right size. And so this was the smaller size. It's got this kind of mesh at the top, and the larger size had kind of a couple of inches of just that mesh before launching into this stitch pattern. And actually I like how the top of this is much more, so I am lengthening it by just continuing on these leaves. The original pattern had two, ended after the second one, and I'm about doing on my way to the next one. So I just did a little revision at the edges, because after the first repeat of the pattern, well, actually has it broken down into two different charts, but so the first one she's increasing on the side for the second one. And so I kind of have adapted that. You had to do a little bit. I'm kind of just doing it on the needles. I'm not like really working it. I figured out where I had to start the increases for the next ones. So I'm continuing to increase on the side for subsequent repeats of the pattern. And then after I got done with the second repeat, I did switch up needle sizes to the next larger needle, so that as it comes down, it has the ability to stretch out, more. And so I'm continuing on with it. When I got done with the second repeat, I still had a little over 50% of my yarn. I don't know. So anyway, I'm going to continue on. I do have, so this was really the only thing that I knit on all week. And I had to take my car in. Same car that was in last month for 3 days. I had to go in again. But I could have taken along just a simple stripy sock. But I thought, no, I want to knit this shawl. I want to get this shawl done. So I took my little basket with my, little yarn buddy, and it drew so much attention knitting this because I had my little iPad, for the chart, and all the sales guys kept walking by and were like, it just shocked them that there was, had the iPad open, there was a chart, and they kept calling it a map. You've got a map. Yes, it's a chart. And then I just had my basket on the floor with the yarn buddy in it, and then it always like pulls, perfectly when I'm working on it at home, but because it was on the floor, it kind of wound around the center spindle. And so I took it up and I had it like sitting on the armrest of the chair that I was in, and that caused all kind of tension. Like, what's that? What is that? And I'd show them, and somebody thought that up, and a guy from Wisconsin thought that up. So, because this is from Sun Valley Fibers, and so yeah, so caused a lot of commotion knitting this shawl at the car dealer. So I'm going to just continue with that on. I will show you, I did cast on a stripy sock. Actually, I've cast on 2 stripy socks. One of them is the one of the Arnie and Carlos yarns. And then I did cast on this one, which is a lollipop yarn. This is her color called Blue Skies. So, and this is the one that matches my little blue fluwog Sandra's. So I just cast on the toe. I'm not sure if, I usually do all my stripy socks just plain vanilla because I use them for kind of times when I'm just waiting somewhere or I need something mindless. You go to the movies or something. And I mean, so the Arnie and Carlos is the self-patterning Regia yarn. You kind of, if you tried to put a pattern of anything in that, it wouldn't show up. But I was thinking maybe I should try to do something, there's some kind of pretty stitch patterns with like just the striped yarn. So I'm thinking maybe I will have to think about. That's kind of why I stopped at the toe, because I didn't really know, should I just do it vanilla or should I try to do something different? So I don't know. So anyway, that's what's on my needles. I have nothing off my needles, but I do have a little spinning to show you. I think the last couple weeks I've shown you that I joined the Sun Valley Fibers Tour de Fleece team, and I've been spinning, spindling and spinning on my wheel some fiber from them. And so this is the fiber. I'll just show you this. This is Superwash BFL, and this is the Boundary Waters color. It's so pretty. So I spindled, filled up one spindle with a quarter of it, and then I spun another quarter of it on the Joy. I have the second quarter of, or another batch that's about half done on the Joy, but then I also plied the first spindle and wheel spun yarn. So that is this, and I love how the colors turned out. It is, I don't know if you'd call it a true fractal. There are some places where the colors matched up, but I love all the barber pole. It's so pretty. I'm really loving it. It ended up to be 254 yards. So my thinking was that I wanted to do socks. It's a superwash yarn. It's just a 2-ply, but I thought it would be really pretty sock yarn being BFL and superwash, and I think this will be really, really pretty. So I have the second half of the wheel spun yarn. I'm hoping to finish that up in the next couple nights. Anyway, this is part of that. And so hopefully I have the second spindle full started, and I'm not going to really work on that a lot until I go to camp at the end of the week, because so that I have that to work on. And we'll see if I finish spindling it there, fine. Otherwise it'll be finished up this summer, because now I really want to knit socks from this yarn. So the only other thing I have is Imagiknitting. Camp is at the end of this week. I'm so looking forward to it. I was really single-minded knitting on that shawl, because I was hoping to have it done today, and I wanted to like hold it up and show you and say, look, I finished the shawl. And that didn't happen. So it's not going to be done by the time I'm going to go off to camp either. Maybe I will cast it off there. Maybe that would be my lucky place to cast it off. So, but I'm like thinking about like, what am I going to knit there? And I have the yellow handspun sweater, which, I still want to do, but at this point it feels kind of like an obligation knitting, and I don't really want that to feel like that. And I love, when I go to camp, I love to knit sort of an Elizabeth Zimmerman kind of thing, or or a Meg, thing. So in the back of my mind, I was thinking I would like to work on this there. And this was in the latest wool gathering, or the spring wool gathering. And it's this really pretty yoke sweater. And so that I mean, there's just that plain body, all that stockinette, and I thought, oh, knitting that at camp, I would get a lot of that done, especially because I'm planning on doing it in kind of a dark color, which, so this is the charcoal, or the black sheep there. You get a good shot of the color. This is what's left over from my coat that I knit last winter. I mean, I have more wheels of it. I just took out one to show you. And then I'm going to pair it with for the color work in the yoke, I want to use this kind of, it's a heathery rose, kind of dusty rose, pale pink kind of color. I thought these would be really pretty together, and I want to convert mine and make it a cardigan. So I would do a steeked cardigan. But when I went to ZK, I went to Ginny's, which is the fabric and button store that they have in Rochester, and I wanted to buy buttons for a sweater, and I like stupidly didn't bring kind of like any sweaters that needed buttons, like I could match them up. But I was there and thought, I'm just going to buy a bunch, like sweaters, kind of quantity of buttons. And I bought these really pretty kind of pewtery ones. Let me go see if I can find. So these are the buttons that I bought at Ginny's. They're kind of pewter, but they're lightweight. They look like they'd be heavy, but they really aren't. They're really quite lightweight, because they are, I don't know if I can put something behind there. They're kind of woven looking, but there's spaces in between sort of the warp and weft threads. So I got a sweater's worth of these. So these would be pretty, I think, on that charcoal, and plus that they're lightweight with the unspun. Because I'm just going to do single spun or single ply. So anyway, I have buttons already for this sweater. So that is one thing that I'm thinking about working on. And then, or the yellow cardigan. And I will probably bring one pair of those stripy socks just to, have when, we're going to go out to eat, and sometimes those, if I did those in a, just plain knitting, it's nice to have something like that, especially when show and tell is going on, because then you can just knit mindlessly and keep your eyes on the fabulousness of the knitting of all the other people. I'm really looking forward to camp. It's going to be, I hope it's going to be like a really fun time. So that is about all that I have for you this week. Next week, it'll probably be, podcast will be delayed a few days, but because we don't come home till Monday. Camp runs over to the Monday. There's the last breakfast. So, but you probably won't notice because sometimes the episodes get up a little bit late. I didn't have much knitting to show you, so I almost didn't record, but I kind of want to, stay in the habit of recording like every week, even if it's a short one. So I thought I would just kind of throw one up really quick. So I am going to head out the door, and I will see you next week. Thanks so much for watching, and until I see you, from my heart to yours, happy knitting.